guys, it is your boy Phoenix Brenton here, and welcome to today's video. And today's video, we are going to be talking about the New England Patriots. Now, before we get into today's video, like and subscribe. We're on the road to getting to 700 subscribers. But anyways, enough said. Let's just get into the video. And also, I have a playlist of every single team in the NFL. And if your favorite team is not on that playlist, it's probably because I haven't recorded it yet. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's just get into the video, and also comment down below any team that you want to see that I haven't done yet. And let's just start off by saying that I feel like the Patriots are a little bit of a sleeper team. I feel like they are a little bit, because I feel like not a lot of people are talking about this team enough. Because it's like, first of all, they just made it to a Super Bowl. Granted, was it probably the legitimate Super Bowl? No, it wasn't. But they were at least figuratively there. Or they were theoretically there. And I know this team, and I think when everybody says this, I think we all can agree, this team did have a very cakewalk of a schedule to getting there. And I think a lot of us can agree with that. Like, I mean, even the playoffs, for instance, you have the Chargers, who were just injured. The Texans, their offense stinks because of C.J. Stroud. And Broncos didn't even have Bo Nix, and they probably would have won that game. And then they got mollywopped by the Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. But I feel like, honestly, both Super Bowl teams are sleepers. Which, I mean, let's talk about the Patriots, obviously. First of all, they went and added A.J. Brown. As much as a head case as I think he is, and I don't feel like he's got talks about much in terms of the head case department, because he was unhappy with Tennessee, and then he was unhappy with Philly. You kind of could see a pattern here. Anyway, I think it's a good investment, though, for New England. Getting A.J. Brown for, what was it, a fifth and a first, which I don't think was horrible. Because guess what? You're only losing your first round pick in 2028, not 2027, where you could still potentially still go all in. Also, there are a lot of things, though, they did end up actually adding to their team as well. Like, for example, they went and added Romeo Doubs, who I think is a solid receiver. But for how much he's getting paid, which is $17 million a year, with $35 million being guaranteed, is kind of insane. Isn't it like a 4-year deal or something? I'm not sure. But I mean, I do think he's a good addition. Just interesting. Elijah Vera Tucker was a very good signing. I don't feel like a lot of people in specifics really talk about that one. Kevin Byard was a good signing. Dermont Ray Jones was a decent signing as well. Also, shout out for the Patriots letting go to Stephon Diggs. Like, yeah, granted, that team would probably be better with Diggs, but he's a head case. I think we can all agree with that. And then they had their draft. Kale Lumu could definitely be a decent addition on the offensive line. Gabe Jenkins could be potential help at edge. Eli Renner, a tight end, not maybe the greatest position you could have addressed. So that's kind of what they did. They went and drafted, decent players to fix their roster and stuff. But I do kind of want to say this as well. In specifics to their roster, is why did they not address edge during free agency? I mean, I guess they kind of did with DeMontre Jones to some aspect, but it's not what you really needed. Like, one of the biggest problems with the Patriots was the trenches. That was one of the biggest problems with this team. And what they did to add at that was draft Caleb Lumu, sign Elijah Vera Tucker, which I think was a good addition, though, May, and sign DeMontre Jones and draft Gabe Jenkins. That's what they did to fix the trenches. I don't think that's really good. And the reason why I say that is because this team just made it to the Super Bowl. And you're just like, yeah, let's kind of just run the same roster and see what happens. That's like so dumb. I just think it's not the smartest idea for a team that should really be trying to push in all your chips in. Because, again, nobody was expecting them to be in the Super Bowl this year. Same thing with Seattle. You have a pretty decent length until your Super Bowl window is probably going to be closed. Why are you not pushing all your chips in? Like, you kind of did with A.J. Brown, granted, but that's about it. Why aren't you doing other things? That's something I'm just really confused about. Now, I will admit, like, again, they have a good secondary. I think their secondary is very, very good with Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, Marcus Jones, Kevin Byard. I think it's a very good secondary. Robert Spillane is a nice linebacker as well. Harold Landry is a decent edge. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore lead a pretty good interior defensive line as well. Elijah Vera Tucker is, again, a massive increase with the offensive line. Will Campbell, you kind of hoping for him to have a good year too. Otherwise, you might have to move him to guard, which then I really wonder who's going to then play center or what's going to happen. Because Will Campbell has been kind of talked about being moved to guard in the draft. Because I do remember that with some of his combining stuff with his arm's length and stuff. Because, I mean, Derek Hall had a day with him. The running back room is very good. Like, they have a very well-rounded room. I think the biggest problem, I said this before and I'll say it again, is their trenches. If they had, like, an elite player at both sides of the trenches, this team can be a very scary team. Not saying that Elijah Vera Tucker isn't good. Let me just put that perfectly out there. He's a good guard. Just, I feel like if they had an elite tackle and an elite edge rusher or interior defensive lineman, which Milton Williams is, he can be there maybe, but not entirely. They have a decent chance of actually doing something. And taking a look at their schedule, they do have a relatively, again, not so easy schedule this year. Because you have the Seahawks, the Steelers, the Jaguars. You do have then like a pretty easy schedule with the Raiders and the Jets. But then you have the Bears, you have the Packers, you have the Lions, you have the Chargers, you have the Vikings. I mean, some aspect, I guess. The Chiefs, the Broncos, and then again, you also have to play the Bills twice a year. So this is going to be a very not so easy schedule for them. So I guess let's start off with the floor of this team. And obviously, I think they're going to sweep the Jets no matter what. I just don't see that not happening. And I also think you will split the series with the Dolphins. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think the Dolphins could sneak in wins when they can. But I do think they will split the series with the Jets, respectively. And I also think you will get swept by the Buffalo Bills. You could convince me with a split series, but I just don't see that really. You will lose to Seattle on the road. I don't think that's really much of a question with their floor. Steelers, you get that win at home. You will lose to the Jaguars on the road. You will beat the Raiders at home. You will lose to the Bears on the road. Packers, it's kind of tricky because with Micah Parsons, they probably could lose this game genuinely. But I think I'm going to give them the win at home. I think I'm going to. You will lose to the Lions in Germany. You get a bye week, and then you will lose to the Chargers on the road. You will lose to the Chiefs on the road. And you will lose to the Broncos at home. Putting their floor at 7-10, which definitely still would be good enough to their second place, but not a playoff berth. Their ceiling, I think they'll still lose to Seattle on the road. I think they will beat Jacksonville, though, on the road. I do think then they will split the series with the Bills, and then obviously with the Dolphins, of course, as well. I think the Dolphins, they will be swept. So there's that. I think they will beat the Bears on the road. I think they will beat the Lions in Germany. You will beat the Chargers on the road. You beat the Chiefs on the road. I think the Broncos will still beat you, though. Actually, no. I think you will beat them at home. Putting their ceiling at 15-2. So this team could really go really far if this team puts their mind to it. Like, this is still a Super Bowl potential contending team. And I don't want anybody to not write them off as so. Because seriously, in the AFC, there are not a lot of teams I think that could be better than the Patriots. The Bills and the Broncos, obviously, but I don't really see any other team outside of those two. Like, the Ravens, they have question marks. Like, how's Jesse Minter going to do with his first year? The Bengals, we're still questioning their defensive and offensive line. The Chargers, will they choke? The Chiefs did not have a great year last year. The Texans and their offense. The Jaguars had one of the worst off seasons in the league. So there's a lot of question marks with a lot of these AFC teams, which is why I think the Patriots could potentially still sneak into an AFC championship game, which that means they could potentially win that game and go to a Super Bowl. Granted, do I think they might win one this year? I don't really think so, and it's just because of their trenches. But besides that, this team has a very serious chance of contending for a Super Bowl. But anyways, guys, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.